My name is Benita Okojie. I am a gospel artist. I'm a child of God. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 2 royalties. I'm also a daughter. I'm a sister. And more importantly, I'm a servant of God. God. I'm not going to come and tell you that I have a particular strategy or anything like that. It's just being God. I believe strongly that God is the only one that can sustain anybody. He's also the only one who gives gifts, and so he can sustain that gift. So God has really been my biggest strength. He's been my biggest supporter. He's been my biggest sustainer. Also, I have a great family who supports me 100%. I grew up from a family where my dad was like my manager, my mom was my costumier and my welfare person, and my PA at some point, my travel executive at some point, and then my sister was like my video vixen and my band member. So like I grew up from I was in a family where everyone was playing a role that was very instrumental to me growing and excelling in ministry, and that also has really helped me. And thankfully, I also married an amazing man who's also very, very supportive of my ministry, who looks after the kids that I have stuff to do, who is in charge of like my social media. He's one that helps me put out songs and all of that. So having a family that literally just believes in what you do also helps you to thrive, because you're not in an environment where it's almost like you are doing too much or you are doing so well and people are feeling threatened. There's nothing like that. So like I'm not in a family where there's anyone feeling threatened. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. And so the way I have like my family supporting me is also the way I've been trained and taught to also support my family to in whatever it is that they're doing. So having a great family support system too has also been a source of strength to me. Because I'm human and I'm not perfect, God is the only symbol of perfection. Like God is the only perfect person. As a mom, there are lots of challenges. Taking care of little humans, trying to, also be present with your own self, and also trying to do the things that you know that God has called you to do, being a wife and trying to do everything that you want to do. Of course, it has its challenges. And so because you have children who are dependent on you, you also want to make sure that in this day and age that we live in, you are not selfish just because you're trying to go after your dreams, that you are trying to be there for them and you're also trying to go after your dreams. So yes, I've had days where I usually had this prayer time. Like I do Psalm 23, my children recite Psalm 23 before they go to bed. And so a lot of time wherever I am, I'm always like, I need to get home so that I can pray with them and we can read Psalm 23 together. It's always fun because my son reads it really well, and so we have like a routine where sometimes I get to a point he'll be like, I'm supposed to tickle him before he continues the next verse. And so there was a time I had an event and I didn't get home early, and so by the time I got home he was asleep. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad. I felt like I was not like the best mom that night. So, and I've had a number of times where I want to be there to do certain things with my children, but it's either that I'm working or I have something to do. And so when I have moments like that, I really just remind myself that the grace of God is sufficient for me, and some days I might not be there as a mom because I'm doing something, and then I try to make up for it. And that can be challenging because mom guilt is real. If you're a mom, you know that a lot of the time you feel guilty if you're not there for your child, but you just know that God gave you these children, as a blessing. He also gave you a gift to also bless others. So the prayer is that God continues to give you grace to still be that mom that He's proud of and be that minister that He's also proud of. So God is helping us.
You are merciful, Jesus. You are merciful to me. Oh, how I love to worship your name. I am standing here, a product of your mercy. Your grace found me as I am and made me whole again.
I'd say that I freaked out a lot as a child because it was like my first experience. I knew that I was, I knew at some point that I had become popular because my dad would drive out sometimes and then children would start running after the car and they would be shouting. I cried a lot of the time. I would just go on the footmat and then I would start crying. I would say, why are they following me? Why are they following me? I did a lot of weird stuff. But I was a child and being popular was really new to me. But my parents, my dad and my mom were very hands-on as parents, and that has really helped me even now that I'm a parent. They were really hands-on in the sense that they tried very hard to explain certain things to me. They would say things like, they really appreciate what you're doing, and the only way they can show that appreciation is sometimes by running after the car or by shouting your name and all of that. So they taught me to, wave. So sometimes my dad would wind and say, just wave. That will make them happy, and that will also make them know that you appreciate them. So at that age, I was learning to really just wave so that people know that I actually appreciate, their appreciation also for what I did at the time. But honestly, just having them in my life guide me through that phase really helped me not to make any mistakes. So if I even made any mistakes as well, they were really minimal because they were there all the way. So thank God for my parents. Honest, it's not it's been very, very different. It's been really enlightening too. I've had to relearn, unlearn and I miss him a lot because the music industry now is not what it used to be then, and he was so vast, he was so intelligent, he knew a lot of things. And I remember that when I was much younger, all I needed to do was just show up in the studio and sing. Every other thing after that was not my business. My dad would take it up from there and share with all the people all the places necessary. He would do all the legwork. But now that he's not here, I appreciate him more because he didn't just manage me. He also taught me a few things that have been very helpful even now that I'm older. And one of the things he said then was that, and I think it's a passage in the Bible that says the gift of a man will make way for him. My dad will always say that as long as God has given you a gift, God will open the door, And so even if he's not here now, the lessons and the little things I knew about music and production when he was here, God has helped me to use it, to my own advantage even now. And yeah, that God has really been God has been my father. God has been my father in this process. And then my mom also learned so much from him too, and she has also poured into me, from the many things that she also learned from him too. And I'm truly grateful, for that.
Save me. How could I ever repay you forever?
I honestly did not appreciate that, what you're even saying now, until I was much older. So when I was younger, my dad would say, first and foremost, you are an African. Secondly, you are a Nigerian. Thirdly, you are from Edo State. And so he would say, project these, in your songs. Let people know that this is where you're from. And the fact that God created you to be from Edo State, he had a reason, or he has a reason. And so make sure that that reason, shines through even in the songs that you sing. And so then when we even did Osemu Jame, which was really popular at the time, I think at some point I was like, no, I want to sing English songs. And I was listening to the CeCe Winans then, the Whitney Houstons then. So I would be like, I want to sing like, Whitney Houston. I want to sing like, my dad would say, you are not singing like Whitney Houston. That's not what you are going to do. You are going to sing those songs. And so even though I would be like, I would do it anyway. Now, by the time I got older, I began to realize that I was actually born to actually do this. Like, if you listen to an Edo song from me, you are connecting to God. You don't even necessarily need to know what I'm saying. All you need to do is connect with God. And one of the songs I think that I did that really, really showed that was Weose. It's a Yoruba song and an Edo song. So the song is in Yoruba language. It's also in Edo language. Now, a lot of people don't know the English version of the song. because you can choose to sing in English, but people don't even know the English version of the song. But they've had to learn the Yoruba version, they've had to learn the Edo version. And I've had people, when I have programs, people say, please just come and sing that Olorumi for me. They don't even know that the title of the song is not even Olorumi. Or they say, come and sing that Well Said song for me. So I think that really already drives the point that as long as you are a child of God, wherever you're from, God also wants to use that to his advantage to bless lives. You don't have to be Igbo, you don't have to be from my state to be blessed by any of the songs I'm doing. And I think I now really appreciate that more. And now when I write songs in my local dialect. I write songs either in Yoruba or in Edo or in any other dialect. What's more important for me is that God is glorified and lives are touched and blessed through, the songs. Mommy Band started when I had my son. I was a first-time mom. I had a lot of questions. It was a first for me, and I just kept thinking, why didn't anybody tell me this is what motherhood is about? Why didn't anybody tell me that, my baby will cry all through the night and I won't have answers and all of that? So I was sharing that with my sister. And then she said, why don't you share that on Instagram? There are a lot of people that have been following you since you're a child and that are also moms like you are now. And how about you share it with them, and then they can also share their experiences with you. Who knows, you might just learn one or two from that. And I was like, okay, that's really how it started. So I think the first post was, I shared about immunization. I had taken my son for immunization and I couldn't even go into the room with him because he was crying so much. And I was also crying. So my husband and my mom had to be the ones to go and watch him. And then I just got out and I was like, this motherhood life is not funny, And then I shared it with moms. And that day we had so many, it was something else. I had about maybe 200 to 300 people saying, this is my story too. That's how I cried too. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not weird. Oh, okay, I'm not a weird mom. Oh, okay, my feelings are valid. Oh, okay, I'm a mom too. Everyone has been through this too. And that's really how it started. And so it's been a really beautiful journey to just have a community of moms who share, your own experiences too, who can relate to some of the things that you relate to. And then it makes you feel like you are not alone. There's a community of other moms who will cheer you on and who will help you to also achieve your dreams by just sharing their own stories too. And that's really what Mommy Bands is all about. And I think that the beautiful highlights for me is when a mom reaches out to me and says, oh, you mentioned so and so, and then a lot of other moms commented, and one of these things that one of the moms said really helped me. I remember there was a mom, I think about a year or two ago, who said she was trusting God for a child, and she sent a message to me, and I said, we'll be praying for you. We're trusting God to do it for you. And then she sent a message a year after and said God had done it. I was just excited, and I think that that's really what community is about. It's about women praying for you, and women just being there to just cheer you on and hold your hand while you are going through a phase in your life. And Mommy Bands has definitely been a blessing. It's opened a lot of doors for me as a mom. And I'm thankful for what God is doing through that community. And I'm praying that, God continues to do even more. And that we have a lot more babies coming in again too, from other moms, not me for now, like from other moms. And where the testimony will be like, I keyed into one of the comments from one of the moms here, and God did my I think my academics. So at some point, first, there's nobody with a perfect life. No one has a perfect life. We have challenges, and the assurance for us as children of God is that as long as we have God, God will always help us to overcome these challenges. So as a child, I struggled with my education. I remember that at some point when we got really busy, I wasn't able to attend some school. I remember I couldn't even write some exams or some tests because it was clashing with programs I had. And at that time, because I was doing really, really well, I would have like 3 programs in a day. And I now realized that, okay, this was beginning to affect my academics. And my parents did everything they could. I had lesson teachers. A lot of the time, I had lesson teachers. I would stay for extra classes sometimes. And I remember that at some point, I kept feeling like I didn't want to thrive at one part in music and then fail in my academics, because my parents also were not people that would encourage you to just continue doing music. Don't worry, your life is sorted. They insisted that I went to school, and they also made sure that I did not just go to school, that I graduated. So I remember one time I was praying. I was like, I don't want to fail at school and then succeed at music. And I realized that it took intentionality. While I was praying, I started reading my books. My parents actually now cut out some programs. They just stopped allowing me to go for programs because they felt like it was beginning to take its toll on my studies. And so when they did that, that really helped me. I went back to school, started doing my normal schoolwork, my tests and all of that, and then I got better at it. Now, when I also got to the university, I had an extra year, which was personally for me the most challenging season of my life. I was doing very well musically. I had done really well in my primary school, in my secondary school, and then when I got to the university, I had an extra year. And I think that there's also always a lesson for situations in our lives, especially when it's like a low moment. Now, when I had the extra year, I had to go back to, I was already in my 400 level, and the extra course I had was a year 1 course. It was a 100 level course or something like that. So, and then I was known. So I had to go for the class. I had to go for classes, and because if you're in private school, they'll tell you to have like 80% attendance. So if you don't have 80% attendance first, it's already a problem before you even write your exam. So if it was maybe a federal school, it would have been easy not to even attend any class and then just show up on, for your exams. But I had to attend these classes. Those were the most challenging moments of my life. I remember that the first day, at first I didn't want to go for classes, and then the first day I finally decided to go for classes. And I'm thankful for my mom, who didn't allow me run away or not face the consequences of my actions. I remember that when I got to school in university, I was first in a clique where we were doing sorority group, where we wear the same clothes, we will sit down on the same table. The reason why our parents sent us to school is not where I went to school. We were just there forming group, and it affected all our studies, Luckily for a lot of those girls, they even got out. They didn't even have an extra year. But me, the Holy Spirit was like, we're going to teach you a lesson. So I had that extra year. And it was such a challenging time for me. I remember the first time I went for my class with the 100 level students. Oh my God, I felt like the ground should just open and I should just go inside, because it was so hard to face those young. And then they had this, Benita is in our class. You know how those, and they're like new intakes then, and they're like jam bites or something like that. And I was just like, Holy Spirit, you have to make me invincible, because this is not even funny. But one of the things I learned during that season was God will humble you so that He can teach you a lesson. And I was humbled. Oh my gosh, I was so humble. When I wanted to sit down, I remember that. And then by the time I would get into the class, the only seats that were not taken were in front. So you are going to everybody will literally see you come into the class. But I learned that you need to be humble. No matter what level you've gotten through in life, God will still use one situation to humble you. And one of the things that made me really humble was that I now had to make friends with those 100 level students, for classes, sometimes for tutorials and all. The good news about it was by the time I was done with that particular course, I was one of the best students. And that really made my entire session there beautiful and memorable. And it's one of the lessons I learned, that don't ever think that God cannot humble you at any point in your life. And focus is important, determination is important, but more importantly, nobody's bigger than, nobody's smaller than you. So God can use anybody, And those people were people that were friends, and then eventually I got out of that class and I became really, good, and I left with, to the glory of God, well. Yes.
What a kind God you are.
I honestly will not even try to say I have a good relationship with everybody, because I don't even know, and I don't even want that to be my problem. Not necessarily problem, but like for me, what's more important is that I know who I am in Christ. My identity is in Christ. So I'm not looking for controversial news to make me relevant or to make me popular, because God is my anchor, God is my foundation, and God is my promoter. Like, so whatever it is that I do, as long as I do it to the glory of Christ, I'm covered, you know. And my relationship with God is also a work in progress. It's not, I can't even tell you that I'm where I want to be in my relationship with God, but I continue to work daily to be better, you know, in my relationship with God. So, but I also believe that as a child of God, you're not supposed to make your life about yourself. You know, the life that you live is for Christ, and is also for impact. Not just impact, positive impact. So don't live your life going about trying to be controversial so people can know you, or so you can be like, oh, that's not really why God has called us. We're not even called, you know, for selfish reasons. We are called to be selfless. So let your life be a reflection of the glory of God, and let whatever you do, make sure that it's pleasing to God and that it is impacting lives, so that they can also make up their minds for Christ. That's what your life should be about.
Thank you for choosing mercy.
I think it will be delivering. I know that before we had our children, I would go for antenatal, and then I would hear, oh, don't worry, just pray. If you have the baby naturally, that's it. That's it. It's not it though. I remember that after I had my son, oh my gosh, I felt, I was excited that the baby was out, but I looked at the body of a woman and I was like, how? Like, how does a woman go through all of this pain to give birth to a child? And she's supposed to act like nothing happened, because once the baby is out, the baby starts crying. And then even if you are in a lot of pain as a woman, you have to, like, my mom says babies are selfish. Babies don't necessarily really care how you feel. When they're hungry, they want to eat. And even if you are emotional, just get them food. That's all they care about. So I really couldn't believe how people can give birth to 12 children. I don't understand how. Because after having 2, I'm just like, this body has gone through a lot. And that was a shock for me, because I'd hear people say, oh, that's my 6th child, that's my 7th child. And yeah, I'm grateful to God for the grace for those women to have those children. But I'm like, how? Is there any special remedy that you guys, is it that you just go into the hospital and baby comes out? Because there's labor pain, there's contractions, and then there's delivery. And God help you if you're having that baby either naturally or even through cesarean. Both stages are not necessary. Some people have it really easy though. Some people just go in and then they have those babies. But I can't say that I can't say that's my own story. So I'm just like, women going through that and then immediately just get into that role of motherhood without like a manual or anything. You just become a mom and then that's it. There's nobody that tells you, oh, this is the way you should do it or this is the way you should not do it. And then your body has to heal while you're taking care of a child. I honestly don't know how moms do it, but like, it just really made me even like appreciate my mom more, because I would look at my mom and be like, you had 4, I have just 2. And sometimes I'm like, send help. But she had 4 and she did such an amazing job with it. So I salute women. Now I don't even judge any mother anymore. If a mom is looking funny, if her hair is up and her child is well dressed, I'm like, one person had to look good and it had to be the child. I'm not even judging any mom anymore. And I feel like moms are such amazing people, because they live lives of it's a sacrificial life that they live. Once they have a child, they have to make sure that they sacrifice a lot for that child. Men too. I'm not trying to, men too anyway, but like, moms are amazing, and I salute every mom, because I'm one and I know that motherhood is a lot of work. I think that I would say for other people, just do what works for you. For me, I don't like stress. Never have, never will. I don't like stress. So if I'm feeling a bit stressed out, I have like I would say every Saturday, but there are Saturdays when it doesn't happen. But like most Saturdays, my husband looks after the children and I just drive out of the house for alone time. And it works every time. I just go to like maybe my favorite supermarket, I buy like any snack or any drink I like, turn on the radio, listen to my faves, and then I eat away. Eating also helps me feel good. So I go into the car, I go to a restaurant or something, and it's like alone time. I don't go with anyone, I don't go with my husband, I just go with myself. It's just me, myself, and I, just celebrating the joy of being myself. You know, there's this popsicle place I also like to, anytime I go there, I know it's self-care o'clock. Like, I just, you know, once I tell my husband I'm coming, he knows that, okay, it's time for some alone time, because I feel like once I've gotten to a point where I'm really overwhelmed, I can't function the way I want to function, even as a mom, and I don't want my children to see their mom as an unhappy woman. So a lot of the time I just take some time out, and then when I come back, I'm like, yes, where were we? I'm like the better version of myself. So I think that self-care is really important for women, and we should take that, time, alone time for ourselves as much as we can, because whenever we do that, we get the better version of ourselves, and we can be better moms to our children. So yeah, that's how I unwind. And music is something I really love. So music away from the house, because there's music in the house, it doesn't work as much. When I'm out of the house, the music sits very well. I'm able to enjoy the music more, and then enjoy my favorite snacks and drink, and I'm good. And then I come back home and I'm like, okay, now we're good. Let's continue.
What do I have that you've not given to me? What do I need that you don't have in abundance?